morning, everyone. Say good morning, baby. Good morning, Lily. It is another day. We're gonna go. We haven't been to the opera house, so today is the day that we get to see the opera house. So we're gonna go have breakfast there, and then make our way to the opera house. So excited to see it for the first time up close. I'll show you Amara's outfit. She's teething at the moment, so she's drooling all over. But yeah, look how cute she looks. Hi, cutie. Hi, lovey. Hi, lovey. Hi. Oh, bless you. Bless you. Bless you, matchy, matchy, matchy. Are you matchy, matchy?
Mayra.
We're finally here. But first, let's go get some breakfast. Oh my gosh, beautiful. So we just finished our breakfast. How's the glasses? Did you like it? We're making our way to the opera house. Not a good weather today. And there. It's raining outside, that's why we're in. Oh, we'll try to get to the opera house. Oh yeah, we can go inside from here. We can go up there from here. Just gonna get our tickets so that we can get in the opera house. So Amara's got the cold because she's teething, but she's also got her vaccine tomorrow, so hopefully she can do it tomorrow. We've got a wedding photo shoot. Alright, baby's sleeping now, so but we're doing the tour. We're doing the tour, so that's good.
12 o'clock. Amazing. Good mid-morning, good midday, everybody. Welcome to the Sydney Opera House. My name is Phoebe. I'm going to be your tour guide today. First up, we're going to do some equipment, just because it can get a bit busy inside and it's easier to hear me on these things. So, everybody is going to receive a headset here and a receiver. You're going to plug your headset into the top of the receiver like that. And then the only button that works on here is your volume control. So if you can't hear me, of course, turn it up. And if you get a little bored, please turn it down. Sometimes that's the secret to success here. Now, if everyone could get their tickets out with the time visible, just so I can make sure you're in the right place, right time, I'll hand out the equipment at the same time. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions before we go? Okay, well, come along with me then.
I'll go where you go. I know where I stay tonight.
Welcome again to the Sydney Opera House. My name is still Phoebe. I'm so good. Welcome as well to Benelong Point, which is the land that we're currently standing on. So prior to 1788, when settlers arrived here in Australia, this land was actually called True Valley. It is home to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. Now these First Nations folks primarily use this land as a meeting space to gather, to eat, to dance, and to share stories. So we love to take a moment at the top of our tours to acknowledge the Gadigal people as our traditional custodians here on this land, and also to pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. The Sydney Opera House over here was opened in 1973 by the late Queen Elizabeth II, and it was actually designed primarily by two main architects. So the exteriors of the building are largely the work of a Danish architect called Bjorn Utzon, and many of the interior spaces are the work of a little-known Australian architect called Peter Hall. Now, I'd love to bring us out to the front of the building just so we can break down the architecture into three main parts. Our first being our monumental staircase and forecourt area out here. Now, this area is actually our 7th venue here at the house. We host a lot of outdoor concerts here. Recently, folks like Glass Animals, Crowded House, Troye Sivan, a lot of pop and rock people especially love this as a venue. I mean, if I were a pop star, I would totally come here too. It's like a beautiful place to play. Next, we've got this concrete podium section underneath the sails. Now, in this concrete podium alone, we've got three performance venues. We've got the drama theater, which is a traditional proscenium art theater. We've got the studio, which is really great for experimental work, more versatile stagings, new works, touring works. And then we also have the playhouse, which is a more intimate venue, good for smaller scale work, like one-person shows, children's theater, intimate more located, things like that. All of that is in the podium section under the sails. Then, speaking of the sails, the four big ones back there are the concert hall. That is our largest, most majestic venue here at the Sydney Opera House, and it's home to the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. The second set of four sails directly parallel to those are the Jones Sutherland Theatre. They're a little bit smaller. That's where we've got opera and ballet at the Opera House. And then the two little baby sails up in front of us here at the Benelong Restaurant, which is our 5-star eating establishment here at the Sydney Opera House. So, now that we've taken a little peek outside, let's head on into the building.
I'll go where you go. I know where I stay tonight with you. I'll stay tonight with you.
To the front. As you're going in, please be advised when you're entering the space, you'll notice some designs on the ceiling. These designs are actually the very first concept designs for the Sydney Opera House. These are Bjorn Utzon's first designs that became the building. So, not the happiest story, of course, when Bjorn Utzon left us here at the Opera House, but don't worry. There's a way better ending to this story, but I'm saving it for the end of tour, because we gotta have a little suspense here at the Sydney Opera House. Now, babe, are you going up? I'm going up. Perfect, we're gonna join you. Amazing. Now, this lift is one of the accessibility accommodations we've added at the Sydney Opera House. From 2020 to 2022, we did a massive rehaul of a lot of our accessibility features because when we first opened in 1973, that wasn't really a consideration that people were looking towards at that time. This lift is really fun. It's a hydraulic lift, so it doesn't actually have a roof. And as you go in and as we go up, you'll notice, I kind of think it looks like Star Wars. Specifically when Han Solo is in the trash compactor. Just because as you're lifting, the ceiling just becomes a lot closer. And these are the same beams above us as that go all the way down into the bottom part. It's a pretty fun feature. It also allows us to get upstairs quicker into the bottom. Hey, guys! Yeah, apparently. I thought we went up, which is great.
I'll go where you go. I know where I stay tonight with you. I'll I stay tonight with you.
We're next door where we still have them, but basically it's a rear stage lift or an elevator that was used to bring set pieces up to the stage, and then a fly tower, which is used to move set pieces during a show. Now, when they removed the rear stage lift, we actually got 2 bonus performance spaces downstairs. The studio downstairs literally used to be an elevator, because you kind of have to be an octopus to do it. So we only maybe hear it about 5 or 6 times per year, if we're lucky. I heard it once during a tuning, and that's it. And it's a beautiful architectural feature when it's not being played. Now that we're between the buildings, let's go on a little adventure brief of the tiles if you want on the sales of the Opera House. These tiles are one of only 2 imported materials from the original construction of this site. From Sweden, very nice. Those are made of cement. They've been fired and baked twice. And they can very lovely spring water. So it's sort of slip that is 5% of silicone. Now, looking at the sales, you'll notice 2 different tones to the tiles, white and off-white. This is mainly to reduce sun reflection, because on a really bright sunny Australian day, if we had a totally white building, it'd be painfully blinding to look at. Now with 2 tones to the tiles, it is only moderately blinding to look at. So a helpful design feature there. If you have touched the tiles, you'll notice 2 different textures. The off-white finish, but they're quite bumpy underneath that. That texture and that finish is the shamanic action. What it does is it basically makes the tiles really resistant to dirt and also to things growing on them. So if the tiles are resistant to dirt and things growing on them, they pretty much clean themselves. And I wish every day that my bathroom were done. Now, the rest of the cleaning process actually has been facilitated this morning via rainwater. So the rainwater is able to rush down the sails, get all the dirt off the tiles. That rainwater then goes into these gaps between the granite panels underneath our feet. These gaps lead to waterproof channels that redirect the rainwater right back out to the harbor. So it is a really efficient way of managing water here at the house. And it also means we don't have to have any ugly gutters on the outside of the building, and we can just enjoy it as a sculptural piece rather than something more utilitarian, more functional. Now, does anyone fancy doing some math this afternoon and guessing how many tiles we've got? That's the closest I've ever had anyone guess on my tour. Usually I make the little ones guess and they're like, 10,000. I'm like, oh, you're so cute. But yeah, that's very close. So out of just under 1 million tiles though, we've actually only ever replaced about 1%. Wow. So that's just a testament to how well they were crafted. How that evaluation process goes is we'll tap the tile and listen to it for changes in the sound of the ceramic. Because of course superficial damage like chips and cracks, things like that, we'll be able to see that, we'll fix that. But what they're listening for are internal fissures within the ceramic itself that might not even be visible, but could develop into something bigger over time. So very big, very important job. We're probably some of the world's best listeners. Alrighty folks, let's get into the warm. And you can ask me questions while we're now this space, and what we'll do is we'll just group up right around the corner there. So just to the left-hand side of that corner, so this other group can pass through. This space is highly influenced by European Gothic architecture. So the ceilings of overhead are vaulted ceilings, which means they're entirely self-supported. We don't need any additional columns to support them. Now, have I got any architects or engineers today on tour? Any architects, any engineers? Uh-oh, here's trouble. For my fancy architect engineer. Most famous opera singer. I say arguably because of course everyone's got their favorite they'll fight me for. But she was also the first Australian to ever win a Grammy. And back in her view of the house. So please come on down these stairs and check out the gorgeous harbor views all over. That is in France. The company back then called Pousse Shoulder Vaisselle. Decent pronunciation. It actually took 4 months to get this glass here via barge. There's over 6,000 square meters of glass, and the entirety of the City Opera House was cut into about 2,000 panes in over 700 different shapes. Long story short, a lot of glass. Also, the first time that glass was used to this extent as a structural material in architecture. So each of these sections of glass here are actually 2 panes of glass laminated together. So the external pane is a clear glass. The interior pane is tinted in a color called demi-topaz. Now, demi-topaz is super helpful because it contains mineral oxides that prevent too much sun exposure. Also, when glass is this thick, it naturally ages into this kind of unbridged by the power. Peter helped him on board. He knew that for this space, for example, Lord Vincent wanted to feature these brass mullions overhead, these metal structures here, as well as a sizable amount of glass, just so we could appreciate the view. However, the original designs for this space actually had the glass hanging vertically, and this space comes off like a full. Dancers doing solo pieces, absolutely gorgeous stuff. We also have Opera Australia hosted here as a main company, and we also have Bangarra Dance Theatre, new this year. So before this year, they were downstairs in the Drama Theatre. Bangarra Dance Theatre is one of our leading First Nations dance theatre groups who is doing amazing work of telling First Nations stories on Gadigal land, and they're moving up to the Jones Sullivan Theatre this year, so they get a lot more space to use to tell great stories. Brazil. There's your connection. There's the Brazilian connection. Now, I think that's a pretty phenomenal comparison. One opera house and a whole Brazilian city. You can't do pretty much better than that. Now, unfortunately, Jorn Utzon did pass away in 2008. However, in gifting us with Utzon's design principles, as well as the Pritzker Prize win, as well as the World Heritage listing and preservation of this entire site and structure, I'm pretty sure we can agree that he gave us a phenomenal legacy that we don't just get to enjoy today, but we get to carry with us long into the future. And that's it, guys. We did the tour.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Alrighty, folks. Next up.
Alright, that tour was amazing. We got to know so much about the Opera House, hey? Yeah, what a story. It's amazing. It's just sad that the guy who the original architecture for this building, he resigned and he didn't want to come back to finish what he started. But was it his son that family came back to? Yeah. Apparently the son was also an architecture, so he came and sort of completed the work with other people. But yeah, what an amazing story. Beautiful view.
I'll go where you go. I know where I stay tonight.
Let me take the back.
At the front.
I'll stay tonight with you.
This is our studio.
The bridge. Where's the city? I saw the Sky City where we had dinner somewhere. I think it's on the other side. Yeah. Wow. Alright, so we're heading up there to take some cute photos. Cute family photos. How's your ice cream? What flavor? Mango. I'm actually looking for ice matcha.
Yeah,
We'll put it down there.
this water and this is matcha.
You're not funny. My battery is going down. Oh. Alright, so we're taking the ferry back to the city. We're gonna go to our hotel, grab a few things, and then we're gonna head off to my brother's house for just a hang. Nice. We get to be on the ferry today. Can you talk properly? She's sleeping. She's currently teething and she's got the cold as well. Look at the opera house. Oh. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We can see the this acai bowl smoothie. Tastes like shit. But I'm still drinking it. Otherwise, Cubby will hate me for spending too much money on these freaking smoothies, and they didn't taste that well. It's us. Bye, a better house. on the other side, right? Yeah, can't see it. My phone battery's about to die. So as soon as we get off, we'll go straight to the hotel and grab a few things, maybe charge my phone a little bit, and then off to my brother's house. That's us. Did you have fun?
It was
Did you
good.
enjoy? Yeah, the better house was good. Yeah, lucky we did the tour. We got to, you know, broaden our knowledge more about the opera house and when it was first established, how it was built, who was involved in the building. So Amaya is still napping, which is good because she's feeling sick because she's teething at the moment. So yeah, but I'll catch you guys later. When I say traveling and vlogging at the same time is hectic, so you're lucky to get any footage, especially if you have kids. So yeah, that's pretty much what goes on when you travel and vlog at the same time. You know, you want to travel, vlog, but also be in the present, you know, like enjoying the moment with your families. But yeah, I got as much footages, got as much photos, memories that we can always look back to. Yeah, and it would have been nice if Kavi was into you know, content creating world, but he's not that kind of person. Yeah, it would have been nice if he was into it, but that's okay. It's okay. Look who just woke up. I made it. Alright, well, we're walking fast to our hotel because I feel like we're running late. Not that we have anywhere to go. I just don't want my brother to, you know, wait for that long. I know, we're all feeling the same. You like that? You like it? Morning, baby. So we're currently at the Sydney domestic airport. Just have a look in here. Did you guys hear that, guys? So in Krispy Kreme, here in domestic airport, like none of them are Samoans, and they're playing Samoan songs in there. That is so funny. Like I got too excited. I thought, you know, that I was gonna see Samoan because ever since we got to Sydney, I've never seen one islander at all. So look at these.